G'day and welcome to the Lonely Grape TV. I'm Shane Barker, your host, and this is the Alpha Box and Dice Cellar door. And thank you for joining us to help me bring McLaren-Vale wines to the world. Today, as I said, we're at Alpha Box and Dice. We have wines made by Justin Lane here, and I must admit I tasted these wines about a week ago and thoroughly enjoyed every one of them. The hard bit today has actually been to choose which two. I decided on going for two of the Italian grape varieties, the Dolcetta and a Nebbiolo based blend. So why don't we get into it? So the first one we'll go for is the Dolcetta. Now this is, now let me check my notes, $20 a bottle at Cellar. Now the first thing that struck me when Justin offered me a glass of the Nebbiolo was why was he doing it first, because Nebbiolo in my experience has been somewhat sweet. Excuse me. This is not a sweet wine. This is a dry wine, so there's nothing like, say, the Brown Brothers Dolcetta. So very much a new experience for me. So let's do the wanky thing. Yeah, you don't get any sweetness on the nose, but the interesting one for me is that there is that orange peel, citrusy aromas coming through, and very pleasant aromas coming through. So let's try it. So those orange peel citrusy characters come through from the nose, certainly hit you with on the palate. There's a bit of fennel in there, and it's interesting, there's some tannin wood structure there, but it's not overpowering, certainly not overpowering. And Justin tells me these wines are kept in large barrels for a reasonably long period of time, but it's not there to create these big oak monsters. So it's not a fruit monster, it's not an oak monster, it's well combined into quite a nice wine. So much so, give it another whirl. Now the grapes for this come from Kaipo Forest, so it's just up at the Adelaide Hills, above Wollonga and McLaren-Vale. So it's not McLaren-Vale fruit as such, but lovely wine, very enjoyable. It's interesting, there's gum trees around the property, and right on the back palate, I'm just getting that now, you can actually get the eucalyptusy gum tree type flavours coming through. Very enjoyable wine. This bottle was actually opened yesterday, and it's coming together nicely. I tried some wines, as I said, last week, and I actually tried the wines over 3 days and noticed that they came together much better after, say, 24, 30 hours, something like that, and really sat there nicely for a day or two, just with having a cork on top of it. So very enjoyable. Now, the Dolcetta, now I just checked my notes, sorry, the Nebbiolo, I just checked my notes, 2006, by the way the Dolcetta was 2008. The Nebbiolo is 80% Neb from Blewett Springs, 10% Cabernet from McLaren-Vale, and 10% Tannant from Kaipo again, with the Cabernet and Tannant in New French Oak. So here we go. This is called the Fog. If you hadn't already noticed, quite different labels on these wines. Now here you ask, why is it called the Fog? Well, Justin tells me that the best Nebbiolo producers actually have fog going through the vineyard at appropriate times leading up into vintage. So that's where the fog comes from. We'll do the wanky thing again. This has citrus aromas coming through again, but this is more on the mandarin spectrum as opposed to the orange peel that was in the previous one. Let's give it a try. Those citrusy characters come through nicely. Now what's interesting about this is you do get a taste that's almost sweet, and I couldn't quite work it out when I first tried it. It's actually fruitiness from the grapes. It's not sweet. This is a fairly dry wine. Again, aged in, most of the wine's aged in large barrels, so the same nice tannic structure coming through, but it's not overpowering. This one, as opposed to the Dolcetta, there's some structural mouthfeel in there. Talking to Justin, that's associated with the barrels and what he's done with the barrels, but also there's excuse me, some relatively high VA, so volatile acid, to give it that mouthfeel, that structure, and to bring the wine together. Lovely wines. Haven't tried too many of these two grape varieties, but I tell you, after trying this week, I'll definitely be trying them again. What would you eat with these wines? Well, first of all, both wines I think you could drink on their own with friends quite nicely. Not a problem with that at all. But then again, I suppose you could say most wines you could do that. In terms of food, I'm thinking some nice structural casseroles that have had the layers of flavour to develop to go with the layers of flavour in the wine. So maybe some lovely braised lamb shanks that have been braised for hours and hours and hours, falling off the bone. Would go lovely. Because of the citrusy feel to it as well, I would suggest maybe some duck would go nicely with the wine too, if you wanted to go poultry with the red wine. Well, that's it from Alpha Box and Dice Cellar Door today. I enjoyed these wines, enjoyed bringing them to you, and have a safe week. Thank you very much.